Guys, let's talk about this some, because we know when we go back and look at the profiles of killers, whether it's school shooters, whether it's serial killers, mass shooters, we do know that these are people that did not have happy childhoods typically, that sometime in their early upbringing there was a childhood trauma. We also know that they tend to feel marginalized, and that unresolved childhood trauma comes to a crisis point sometime in their adult life. We don't know necessarily what triggers it. We don't know what brings it about, but it's almost always there. It's almost always a path to violence in some way. And here, when you look at what happened with him, he was overweight, he was mocked. What do you think?
No, I'm not. Doc, I think this pathology begins way in the past, and to bring it back to forensics, that's why I think that it's very important, and I can only urge in the strongest terms that based upon this final thing that he's involved in here, this horrific act, I think that it would be wise for the authorities in Pennsylvania to look anywhere that this guy's been domiciled, wherever he hung his hat, whether it was in his parents' home near the Poconos, whether it was at DeSales when he was doing his undergraduate and his master's degree. Because if there was anything going on along that continuum, if there's any way that they can correlate cases that are back there in the past, what's the harm? What's the harm in going back and looking at these things to see if there's some kind of aberrant behavior back there, something's happened?
We do know that the report from the bar near his home reported that he was asked to not come into the bar anymore because he was going up to women and asking them if they lived alone.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not a real icebreaker.
No, it was a real creep factor. A lot of those women were very concerned.
It says something that he did it enough times that the wait staff went to the owner and said something, and he had it on
But
file.
what also it says is that he's not reading the room enough to know this is not a way to start a conversation with a woman, which again speaks to the awkwardness and the narcissism. You're not reading the room when you walk up to an attractive young woman and ask her if she lives alone, and the reaction is such that they ask you to stop coming to the bar.
Right.
You should, if you are dialed in at all, if you are reading the reactions, you would say, that's not working.
Right.
I need to say, you know, can I buy you a drink? Or, you know, what do you like to do? Or anything besides, do you live alone?
And he was apparently flabbergasted when the owner of the bar told him, you can't do this anymore.
And he's not reading that, which tells you something about him.
Right.
Which, as you say, you should look everywhere this guy has been.
Everywhere.
Because you're going to find something back there that's going to be a problem. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.